Alright, hello everyone. So today we have all of the kits of the characters finally released, and let us talk about these characters because they are quite interestingly designed because they do have one way to support the entire team by dying or killing an ally. Let's start off with Thoracalgia Ryoshu. This means chest pain, by the way, if you don't know. So if I refer to it as chest pain Ryoshu, you probably know which one it is already. So Thoracalgia is straight up nebulizer, it's not smoke. So what happens is that Ryoshu will be inhaling that sweet nebulizer smoke in order to give herself additional damage on critical hit. Critial hit, so please give it 300 lunacy for this spelling mistake. And for your nebulizer here, it straight up is nebulizer. When you activate Pride Absolute Resonance, certain number of allies will gain poise and poise count. And it prioritizes allies that gain or use poise count or poise, but it will, if you don't have any of them, then it will just go for the ally with the least poise potency. So this thing can give allies who have no poise in their entire kit poise and poise count. And that is very powerful, just like how Nebulizer is very strong for other characters that are not poised. If you give Ninclair crit, he becomes ridiculous because he has such a high amount of base power that if you make him crit, he will do a crazy amount of damage. So this thing here can be used like Nebulizer in Mirror Dungeon, but can also be used as a very strong support for your Pride teams because it helps them to get additional poise and poise count. Deep Inhale is just a buff. If you have a certain amount of potency and count on your body already, you will consume the poise potency to deal potency consume times W% more damage on crit. So you will be able to do additional crit damage. So ideally, the Ryoshu wants to be a critical Ryoshu, someone that's able to crit or someone that you can forcefully feed a bunch of poise to make them crit. Right? And then the Ego passive is the way to get your Nebulizer. At turn start, after using this Ego skill, you will gain Nebulizer. If the skill defeats someone, you gain Nebulizer, depending on number of defeated. And if you defeat an ally, you will gain target defeat times X additional Nebulizer. So you can defeat ally, gain additional, or you can defeat your enemies and you will get the Nebulizer. Right? Then the Ego Awakening itself is based on resonance. So if you have certain amount of resonance, you will gain poise and poise count. And a certain amount of poise and poise count on your own character on Ryoshu, you will gain final power plus resonance and coin power plus resonance divided by X. So definitely try to go for resonance as much as you can. And in this case, it's going to be Pride resonance, but you can obviously force it with any other resonance. I'm assuming this is going to be like maybe a cap of 5 or something like that in order to give you some extra value or something. But gain coin power plus looks really spicy for 2 coiner, and we know it's AoE. It looks very dangerous. Right? On target kill, you also gain Deep Inhale. On hit, you also gain Deep Inhale. And if you manage to crit, you will deal poise potency plus count % more damage on crit. So we got buff to your crit damage. We got buff to the entire team if they use crit, or even if without crit, as long as you're able to activate the resonance. You just need to make sure your entire party of non-poise related people have some sort of pride skill or pride ego to force you to get the poise and poise count, and then you can force it. And then your ego passive here is just try to kill people with this ego, or try to use this ego as much as possible so you can get that sweet nebulizer stacking, so you can give more poise to your entire party. Very cool design. Straight up nebulizer out of the Mirror Dungeon. Just have a bunch of conditions that you need to fulfill in order to get big value out of it. Mainly Pride Resonance. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's talk about Yisang. So first off, the skills names are straight up a report. If you read all of the skills from 1, 2, 3, guard, passive, and support passive, he's straight up making a report on the suit that he's wearing, which I think is very funny and very Yisang to just name all this shit like this. Right. So this character is a tank character, an aggro character, and he actually wants to lose clashes, and he actually wants to die. This character is like Sloshing Ishmael, except his kit kind of makes sense to me off the bat. Right, Sloshing Ishmael is straight up, oh, I just go in and I just lose, and some stuff happens. I apply some potency and blah. This character straight up wants to lose, and he wants to get hit also, and Unbreakable Coins lets him do that. He hits the person, and then the person hits him, and then they will get a bunch of Rupture potency and count applied to them. Look at this passive over here with Fairy Leer. So you get Fairy Leer using skill tree and your gut skill. your leftmost slot on the dashboard gains aggro. So you're the lantern. You're legit luring all of the enemies to hit this slot over here. You take more damage. Yep, you take more damage. And when hit, you inflict rupture against the attacker. And if you're less than a certain amount of HP, you inflict additional rupture. And if the target has X plus rupture potency, this buff does not inflict rupture. So there is a cap. You will apply a bunch of rupture to the target when you're getting hit with the Fairy Leer. You can stack this up to 5 times, and I'm guessing the take more damage will also stack up to 5 times. And then besides that, this Fairy Leer gives you aggro. Your guard skill also gives aggro. Skill 1 aggro, skill 2 aggro, skill 3 aggro. So you are legit lantern. You are going to draw so much aggro to yourself. You're going to get hit like crazy so that this Fairy Leer can do the work. And your skill 1 and skill 2, I'm guessing the clash is going to be horrendous. Because if you look, it's both unbreakable coins. And if you lose, you inflict more rupture potency with this skill and inflict more rupture count with this skill. So you want to lose, get hit, Fairy Leer apply to the opponent, and then your unbreakable coins do very little damage, but they apply the status to the opponent. And you'll be drawing aggro a bunch, so you can basically clash anything and lose to them. So I think that this character is quite interestingly designed. It's a lot better than Sloshing Ishmael, that's for sure. Right. So with that out of the way, let's talk about skill 3. What's skill 3 supposed to do? Skill 3 is just straight up inflict rupture count, inflict bind next turn, rupture potency, and rupture potency. But if you hit the requirement, you will not inflict rupture count. It's the same stupid shit that we've seen on your Honglu. Fanghan Honglu also has this one where it's the opposite of Deviat. You have a certain amount that you need to hit. Once you hit that, you will lose the value of your actual skills. So this character here, you're meant to try to apply to a bunch of enemies, not to one target. You're not meant to stack this onto one target. You are meant to just get hit by a bunch of people, make sure all of them get to the baseline of 15 potency and 3 count, and then after that you can go ahead and do whatever the hell you want, because at that point Deviat and your Sank Massault will be taking over from you at that point. Your guard skill is also a green skill, which is very nice, right? So you can force green resonance for your talisman at any time, and you can straight up just keep getting Fairy Leer from this skill as well as your skill 3. So you just get a bunch of Fairy Leer here, you get aggro, and you also inflict rupture count. Just make sure it doesn't have the baseline of 15 rupture, 3 count for failed, otherwise you will not inflict any rupture count. And then, okay, so you looked at all of this, he has no healing of his own. He cannot heal himself. So what happens? He will die. After he dies, what happens is that on passive, on death, you inflict rupture and rupture count against the target that attacked this unit last, and then you gain X ego resource for 4 least own ego resource. If no one attacked this unit, or if an ally killed this unit, you inflict rupture or rupture count against the enemy with the least rupture count. So if you use your Thoracalgia, your chest pain Ryoshu ego, just to kill this guy, you can actually get this effect over here. And if you are in Fairy Leer state, you will inflict double the rupture potency with this effect. So this character is basically a meat shield. You use him to draw a bunch of stuff, apply a bunch of rupture and stuff. You don't even need to keep him alive, because once he dies, he actually will go and nuke the rupture again to the opponent, and then he will give you resources, and then you swap in the other character that's meant to come in and take over from him. So this character is a purposeful sacrificial piece, which I think is what P-Moon is trying to push with all of these egos that help to kill allies and all of these IDs that want to die to give you some extra value. The support passive is also really nice if you're doing speedrun strats, where you are supposed to kill a bunch of your allies, because when your allies die, you gain ego resources, and this support passive just makes it even better. When one ally with the least HP is killed, you gain X ego resource for the 2 least own ego resources, which I think is very, very cool. So yeah, this is going to be quite an interesting design, and if you look at Faust, it is kind of similar to this, except Faust is not so suicidal in that she has every skill have aggro. No, Faust is a character that is meant to burn herself out, which I think is very, very cool, right? The other Blossom Star, I'm guessing she can't control this ego thing yet, which is why she's going to straight up kill herself. So one thing to note here is that you cannot be staggered or fall below 1 HP due to burn damage. If you don't know, burn can actually stagger you, but because you have fireproof, you straight up cannot be staggered, and you cannot die due to burn damage, which I think is very cool. So even if you stack 99 burn, 99 count on yourself, you cannot die until you get hit, then you just die. Yeah, but this is really, really cool passive, and it lets her live on the edge. Right, and then once you live on the edge long enough and you're ready to kill yourself, you activate ABS Max Attunement, Degraded Corrosion, and blow yourself up, and you also blow up your opponents. I think that's a very, very cool design. So What's this character all about? If you look at the kit, you can see gain, burn, and burn count. It's on yourself. You're burning yourself to death. But take note, fireproof means that you cannot kill yourself with burn, but you will just nuke your HP like absolutely crazy, and you cannot be staggered. So that means you will never have to worry about an enemy accidentally hitting you. You will always be able to clash people that you need to clash with. Your burn will not force you to go out of the will not force you into stagger mode. Yeah. Then your skill 2 is gain burn count, and then you gain coin power for every X burn potency on yourself and burn on the target, and then X burn on self, X burn on self. As you can see, when you burn yourself and you burn the enemy, you are gaining more power. And skill 3 is also you gain additional power for every X% missing HP on yourself, and then later on when you explosion with your degraded corrosion, you will gain coin power and attack weight for missing HP on yourself. And the other passive, the flame moth, at X% missing HP and at less than Y burn, gain up to Z burn. So that's pretty interesting. You straight up can give yourself a bunch of burn once you have a certain amount of missing HP to heat yourself up, I guess. And then your evasion skill, you can lose burn on evasion, and you can increase the power by going to a certain amount of X plus burn, which I think is very, very cool. So this character is all about burn yourself and burn your enemy. And if you look at every single skill, she has burn potency on hit without cracking. I'm guessing this is when your unbreakable coin is not beaten, because when you lose with an unbreakable coin, it gets cracked, but it will still trigger, right? So you inflict burn potency, and if they have X plus burn potency, inflict burn count. Burn at X plus burn, inflict more burn, and then you gain burn. Right? Inflict burn. This character has burn potency out the ass. It is actually kind of ridiculous. Turn end gains offense level up next turn for every X burn on self, so your clashing is also really good. Limbus Assault, get out of here. I'm putting this character in. I don't need Gregor either. Liu Gregor. Either of you really. I'll just swap one of you out, throw this character in. Good clashing, good burn potency, I hope. And holy shit, man. I'm very, very excited for this character, because it's a 3-star, and a 3-star character has good clashing usually, and with offense level up, even better clashing, and has some decent output over here, and it's all about burn potency. No, not really too much burn count. The only skill 2 will give you some burn count. Everything else is just burn potency, right? And once you are ready to nuke yourself, right? Once you're ready to nuke yourself, on death, you inflict burn on all enemies and inflict burn on yourself between all enemies. Which means if you stack 99 burn on yourself, you actually split it among all your enemies, which I think is a very, very cool thing. It means that, for example, if you fight a wave of enemies and you go into a boss, you can just choose to kill yourself, and then you nuke the boss with 99 burn. Congratulations. You have stacked up so much burn, then the Dark Flame will just bang. Burn is getting support, and this support looks absolutely crazy. Right? And if you die, you also gain ego resources for 2 of the least owned ego resource. And if you die due to the skill 3, the degraded corrosion, you inflict burn on all enemies and burn on self again. You gain ego resources. And if this unit had X plus burn, apply offense level up to 1 ally that gets substituted in. I'm guessing there's additional scaling to this thing over here if you're using the skill 3 to die, so you get even more burn inflicted onto the enemies. And then this part here, offense level up, it could matter, it could not matter. I guess it depends on which one you're swapping in. Are you swapping in like a weak Liu, like maybe Liu Assault? Oh man, offense level up is going to be very, very important for that guy, and so on and so forth. This character is a very, very cool design. You're meant to burn yourself like crazy. You will never burn yourself to death. You choose when to burn yourself to death, and when you burn yourself to death, you spread all of that fire that you accumulated onto yourself onto all of your enemies. And you can always control yourself by using the defense skill, so you never actually hit the requirement here to activate the degraded corrosion, so that you can use the skill 3 before you're ready to use the skill 3-2 over here. Support passive is when one ally with the least SP inflicts burn with a base attack skill, you inflict additional burn potency, and if you're attacking something with X burn, inflict burn count instead. This is also a really powerful passive. More burn potency and additional burn count. It lets, I think, Otis actually solo. because Otis can apply a bunch of burn potency, but burn potency is all she can do. She can't really apply burn count on Shootis, right? But now you have this, which means that once you use your magic bullet, you will now apply burn potency based on Dark Flame. You will now also be able to inflict burn count instead, just by having this character on your bench. So your magic bullet Otis solos might look even more fancier with this support passive over here. It's just overall such an incredible kit. I think that this one is the big winner for burn. You are replacing any of your 2-stars, and you are going to just shit out burn potency here. I hope the numbers are good. Either way, even if the numbers aren't that good, you can always use the support passives of the other Lius to buff burn potency application for some of these other characters. So maybe your Faust here could be hit with one of them, and then bam, 1 burn, 2 burn, 3 burn, 4 burn. 4 burn procs, you know. So if it's +1 to all of these burn potency application, this shit here is just straight up +4 already. So it's really, really damn spicy to have this skill 1 apply 4 instances of burn potency. It looks very, very cool. Very, very cool. Right. So very excited for this one over here. Yisang is interesting. We'll have to see the numbers before I can judge this one. But I think as a suicidal frontline that just goes in, dies, and then after that you just use another character, I think it looks quite okay. And the Thoracalgia Ryoshu is just straight up more poise shenanigans. I think Edgar family Ryoshu is going to be the main benefactor here with the skill 2, and she's the one that's mainly going to be using a bunch of poise stuff, right? She can also use the W Ryoshu. If you can force feed this W Ryoshu, for example, with a bunch of poise, then you will be able to get some benefits out of the nebulizer, and you can always force the resonance from Ryoshu by using the ego instead. Then you can force Pride resonance. So you can use W Ryoshu in a Pride team. She doesn't need to actually use Leap for the resonance. She can just use the Thoracalgia instead for resonance, which I think is quite interesting. And then you just force feed this character here with a bunch of poise, and congratulations, she now will do a ridiculous amount of damage with that skill tree because she has a bunch of poise on her body. I think that's very, very cool. Right. So overall, this banner looks absolutely spicy. Can't wait to see what the actual numbers are and see which of these characters is going to be ridiculous or which character is going to be kind of mediocre. I'm guessing Yisang might be a bit mediocre, but we will wait and see. It's possible that he actually is a very, very good applier of the potency. And the fact is that the guard skill here is also green, which is very, very important because you want to get Gluttony Res for your talisman, which means that he can fit into the Rupture team and you can easily swap him out with another character for your Rupture gang if you need to, right? So yeah, this character looks very, very interesting for overall Rupture. This one is just peak for poise and this is peak for burn. Like, there's no way to put about it. They just supported 3 different statuses with 1 banner. Very, very cool stuff. And Yisang is also free, which means all you need to do is dispense these 2 over here, or you can pull for them, although I don't recommend pulling for them because these will be dispensable after a while. Alright. So that's going to be it for the initial thoughts here. Looks really, really cool. If I missed anything, feel free to let me know. Thanks guys for watching and I shall see you guys later. Bye bye.